I keep a bottle of whiskey in my freezer that I will never drink. It's not the kind of thing you mention at dinner parties. It's not the kind of thing you explain to your therapist without first downing half a Xanax. But it's real. It's there. A 25-year-old Macallan, single cask, hand-numbered, bottled in 1999, the year my son was born. I bought it the day he turned 1, wrapped it like a birthday gift he wouldn't open for another quarter century. A promise in glass, I'll be here. We'll celebrate together. Time won't steal everything. But time has already. Now, that bottle sits in my freezer, untouched, gathering frost like a tombstone gathers moss. And the man who should have shared it with me, the man who should have toasted his son's milestones with me, shoulder to shoulder, father to father-in-law, has it. My son's father-in-law. A man I've never even met. A man who doesn't know my name. A man who now, somehow, owns the most personal thing I've ever set aside for my boy. And I'm going to take it back. Not the bottle. No. I want him to feel what I've felt. I want him to sit in the silence of a house too big, too quiet, where the photos on the wall are all of a future that got cancelled. I want him to open a closet and smell the faintest trace of cologne that belonged to someone who should still be here. I want him to wake up at 3:17 a.m., the exact time the call came, and know that no amount of money, no second marriage, no new family can fill that hole. This is not a story about whiskey. It's about what happens when grief curdles into something darker. When love outlives the one it was meant for, and turns into a kind of hunger. And yes, I post about it. Welcome to my channel. You found me through the bottle, didn't you? The one in the thumbnail, frosted glass, golden liquor, a handwritten label, for Ethan. On your 25th, Dad. You clicked because it looked like a heartwarming story. A sentimental dad, a rare spirit, a legacy. Maybe you thought it was a gift guide or a luxury review. It's not. This channel started as a memorial, a way to keep Ethan alive in pixels and voiceovers. I'd talk about his favorite books, his terrible taste in sneakers, the way he could fix a carburetor blindfolded. I'd show the camping trips, the garage where we rebuilt that old Mustang, the birthday cakes his fiancée used to bake, dark chocolate, no frosting, with raspberries only if they were fresh. Then, 6 months ago, I posted a video called, "The Bottle That Wasn't Mine." I didn't plan to. I was drunk. Or maybe just tired. I held up the Macallan, voice shaking, and said, "Someone took something from me. And now I'm going to take something from them." The comments exploded. People thought it was a metaphor, a poetic way to talk about loss. They didn't know I meant it literally. Overnight, the channel shifted. From grief journal to, I don't even know what it is now. Investigation. Confession. Warning. Subscribers climbed, 10K, then 50K, now over 200,000. A stranger messaged me, "You're not alone. I lost my daughter the same year. What are you going to do?" I don't answer that last one. Because even I'm not sure yet. But I know this, the whiskey was supposed to be opened on Ethan's 25th birthday. July 14th. 2 months from now. And instead of being in my hand, it's in the possession of a man named Robert Valescu, the father of Lillian, Ethan's fiancée. The woman who erased him. The house is quiet tonight. Rain claws at the windows like it's trying to get in. I live in a small town in upstate New York, where the trees lean like old men and the air smells like wet pine and regret. My home used to be full, Ethan's boots by the door, his guitar leaning in the corner, the hum of his workshop in the basement. Now, it's a museum of absence. I sit in his favorite chair, brown leather, cracked at the arms. I don't use it. I just face it, like it might speak. The storm flickers the lights. Once. Twice. Then the power cuts. I don't move. In the dark, I pull out the envelope. It's unmarked. No return address. Arrived 3 days ago. No stamp. Hand delivered, I think. Left in my mailbox like a threat wrapped in paper. Inside, a single photograph. Ethan, smiling. Standing beside Lillian at their engagement party. I remember that night, fairy lights, laughter, the way he looked at her like she'd hung the stars. But someone's drawn over the image. In red ink, thick, almost wet looking, like it's still bleeding, they've circled Robert's face. He wasn't even at that party. He and Lillian had already cut ties with Ethan's family by then. Beneath the photo, typed on an old-style font, like a ransom note. He toasted to your son's memory last week. With your whiskey. My breath stops. How do they know about the bottle? Who sent this? And why would Robert Valescu be drinking a 25-year Macallan meant for a dead man? I haven't told a soul about that whiskey. Not my sister, not the therapist, not the detective who closed Ethan's file with a shrug and a, looks like an accident, Mr. Calloway. But someone knows. And they're watching. I open my laptop, fingers trembling. The power's still out, but the battery holds. I pull up the latest video draft, unedited, raw. I've been recording confessions in the dark, just my voice and the glow of the screen. I press play. If you're watching this, you already know I'm not okay. But what you don't know is that I've started digging. Into Lillian. Into her father. Into the night Ethan died. And I've found something. Something they don't want found. I stop the playback. Because there's a noise. At the door. 3 slow knocks. Not loud. Not urgent. But deliberate. Like a countdown. I freeze. No one visits. Not anymore. I grab the fireplace poker, cold, heavy, and move to the window. Rain blurs the glass. A figure stands under the porch light. Hood up. Hands in pockets. Then, a hand lifts. Drops something through the mail slot. A small box. When I look back, the figure is gone. I open the door. Nothing. Just wet leaves and silence. Inside, I lift the box. Wood. Cedar. Smells like a coffin. I open it. Inside, a cork. Aged. Stained. And wrapped around it, a note in the same typed font. First sip taken. 24 to go. My knees buckle. They've opened the bottle. They've started drinking it. And they're counting. Underscore 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 underscore. What happens when a father's grief becomes a weapon? Who sent the box? And why does Robert Valescu have a bottle that was never meant for him? The truth is closer than I think. And someone wants me to find it. But not for justice. For revenge. I didn't sleep. I sat in the dark, the cork in my palm like a relic from a crime scene. The typed note, first sip taken. 24 to go. Lay on the coffee table, illuminated by the pale glow of my laptop. I played the security footage from the porch camera over and over. The figure was tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a black raincoat and a hoodie pulled low. No face. No license plate on the car that pulled up and left seconds after the drop. But there was something in the way they moved, deliberate, almost ritualistic. Like they weren't just delivering a message. They were performing a ceremony. And the cork? Lab results came back this morning. Traces of ethanol, yes, but also something else. A preservative. One used in embalming fluid. I nearly dropped the phone when the technician said it. Embalming fluid. As if the cork had been pulled from a bottle stored in a funeral home. Or used in some kind of display. I called the liquor store where I bought the Macallan. The owner, a man named Carl who's known me since Ethan was in diapers, sounded shaken. "Mark, that bottle was one of a kind. Serial number 17 of 30. We kept records. You were the only one who bought a Macallan 25 from us that year with a custom label. So how?" "I don't know," he cut in. "But last month, someone came in asking about it. Said they were writing a piece on rare whiskies. Took notes. Asked if any had been returned, resold, stolen. Did they say their name?" "No. But they paid in cash. And left a tip in dimes. All facing heads up." I hung up, my skin crawling. Dimes. Heads up. Ethan used to do that. As a kid, he'd line coins on his windowsill, dimes, all facing the same way. Said it kept bad dreams away. Coincidence? I don't believe in coincidences anymore. I drove to the cemetery that afternoon. Rain had turned to sleet, slicing sideways. Ethan's grave is under the old maple, near the back. Simple stone, Ethan Calloway. Beloved son. 1999 to 2023. No mention of the fiancé who vanished from his life 6 months before the accident. No mention of the father-in-law who now, apparently, drinks to his memory like he earned the right. I knelt, brushing snow from the engraving. "I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner," I whispered. "I thought she loved you." And then I saw it. At the base of the stone, half buried in ice, a glass stopper. Not from the Macallan. But from a decanter. And wrapped around it, another note, this one handwritten, in elegant script. "He didn't die by accident, Mark. But the truth won't bring him back. Only pain." I nearly screamed. Because the handwriting. I knew it. It was Lillian's. But that's impossible. Lillian hasn't been here since the funeral. I made sure of that. I told the caretaker not to allow her on the grounds. And yet, there it was. Her handwriting. The looping L, the way she dotted her eyes like stars. I pulled out my phone, opened her last text to Ethan, saved in a folder I shouldn't still have. "Can't wait to start our life. Just a few more months. Forever starts now. Red heart." Sent 3 days before he died. The script matched. But why would she leave a warning? After everything? I dug deeper. Robert Valescu. 62, retired cardiologist. Lives in Westchester. Owns a vineyard in Napa, no, a distillery. Small, private. Produces a single batch of bourbon each year. For family and friends only, according to the website. But the website was made last week. No social media. No interviews. Just a sleek black page with a logo, a phoenix rising from a flame, wrapped around a whiskey barrel. And beneath it, a quote, from Loss, "Legacy is born." I felt sick. I hacked, accessed, Ethan's old cloud backup. Found a folder labeled, Lil and Me, Future Stuff. Inside, wedding plans, a will draft, a prenup. And an email. From Robert. Sent 2 weeks before Ethan died. Subject, final warning. Body. If you proceed with the paternity test, you will not be welcome at the wedding. And you will not be welcome near my daughter. This ends now. Paternity test. I stared at the screen. Ethan and Lillian weren't married. No baby. But then I remembered, Lillian had a younger brother. Daniel. Died at 18 in a boating accident. Family never recovered. Was Ethan? No. It couldn't be. But the email was real. And Robert had threatened him. Days before he died. Underscore 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 underscore. I called the detective who handled Ethan's case. Lieutenant Reyes. Cold voice, colder file. Calloway. What now? I need the full accident report. Not the summary. Everything. You got it 6 months ago. There was a threat. From Lillian's father. Days before the crash. Silence. Then, lo, Mark, that file was sealed. Sealed. By who? Department order. High-level review. Said it was a traffic anomaly. Closed. When? 2 days after the funeral. Who signed off on it? Another pause. Longer. Robert Valescu has connections. Old Money, New York. Board seats. Donations. You don't go after a man like that without proof. And if I find proof, you'll be the one investigated. He hung up. Underscore 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 underscore. That night, I uploaded a new video. No title. Just a black screen. My voice, barely above a whisper. They think they buried the truth with my son. But I've started digging. And I've found something they didn't count on. Grief doesn't die. It evolves. And right now, it's hunting. I clicked publish. Within an hour, the messages flooded in. But one stood out. From a private account at Phoenix Rises 88. Just one line. Stop digging, Mark. Or you'll find more than a bottle. I zoomed in on the profile. One post. 2 days ago. A photo of a decanter, crystal, engraved with a phoenix. Sitting on a desk. Behind it, a framed photo. Of Robert Valescu and Lillian. Smiling. At a party. With a cake. That says, Happy First, Ethan. My blood turned to ice. They named their child after my son. And they're celebrating his birthday, with my whiskey. Underscore 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 underscore. Who is at Phoenix Rises 88? Why would Lillian and her father name a child after the man she abandoned? And what really happened the night my son died? The paternity test. The sealed file. The cork and embalming fluid. It's not just about revenge anymore. It's about inheritance. And I'm not the only one who wants answers. The video went live at midnight. No warning. No title card. Just me, sitting in Ethan's chair, the decanter stopper on the table beside me, lit by a single lamp, like we were in a confessional. I told them everything. The cork with traces of embalming fluid. The note in Lillian's handwriting. Robert's threat about the paternity test. The sealed file. The child, their child, named Ethan. And then I played the audio. A recording. From a burner phone I'd left in Carl's liquor store after our conversation. I hadn't meant to bug him. But when I reviewed the call later, I heard it, just at the end, as Carl hung up, a voice in the background. Did he mention the funeral bottle? I froze the playback. Then enhanced it. The voice was distorted by distance, but unmistakable. Robert Valescu. He'd been in the store. Watching me. And now, as my video played, I watched the views climb, 50K. 100K. 200K in under 2 hours. Then, the comments started. But not the usual ones. Not, "I'm so sorry for your loss," or, "That man deserves to burn." No. One user, @LilyShadow, posted a video response. Just 17 seconds long. Black screen. A woman's voice, soft, broken. "Mark, you don't know what they did to me." Then a photo flashed on screen. Me. Standing at Ethan's grave. 2 days ago. With the stopper in my hand. She'd been watching me. And then, the final frame. A hospital wristband. Patient, Lillian Valeska Calloway. Diagnosis, stage 4 glioblastoma. Prognosis, 6 to 9 months. I fell back in the chair like I'd been punched. Lillian is dying. And the video kept playing. Another comment. From @PhoenixRises88. A link. I clicked it. An encrypted folder. Inside, medical records. Court documents. A birth certificate. And a video file. I played it. The timestamp, 3 weeks before Ethan died. It was a home recording. Shaky. Lillian, pale, sitting on a couch, Robert beside her. She looked exhausted. Beautiful, but hollow. She began to speak. "Ethan, if you're seeing this, I'm so sorry. I never meant for any of this to happen. Dad found out about the cancer. He said we couldn't tell you. That you'd leave me. That you'd break the engagement. That you wouldn't want to be tied to a dying woman. I stopped breathing. But I love you. I wanted to marry you. I wanted our life. So I lied. I told you I needed space. I broke it off. And then. Dad had another idea." The camera panned to Robert. His voice, calm, clinical. "You will carry the child. We will raise him as ours. We will give him a future. And Ethan will believe you left him. It's cleaner. Safer. For everyone." Lillian sobbed. I agreed. I was scared. I didn't know what else to do. But then, you found the letter. The one from the fertility clinic. About the paternity test. You said you didn't understand why I'd have one done. And I couldn't lie anymore. She looked into the lens. I was going to tell you the truth. The night you died. I was driving to your house. I called you. You didn't answer. The screen cut to black. Then, text. Ethan Calloway died in a single vehicle crash at 9:42 p.m. Rainslick Road. No alcohol. No mechanical failure. Police report, loss of control. But I knew. He wasn't driving. She was. And she was coming to tell him everything. Underscore 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 underscore. I sat there for hours. No rage. No fire. Just silence. The man I'd been hunting, the monster who stole my son's whiskey, who sealed the file, who raised a child in his name, had done it to protect his daughter. The woman I'd cursed, who I thought had abandoned my boy for wealth and comfort, had been dying in secret. And my son, died because he was about to get the truth. Not a betrayal. A tragedy. And I'd spent months turning my grief into a weapon, threatening, digging, accusing, when the real enemy wasn't greed or malice. It was fear. Fear of loss. Fear of being forgotten. Fear of loving someone who's already gone. I thought I was chasing justice. But I was just screaming into the void. Underscore 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 underscore. Then, a knock. Not at the door. At the window. I turned. Lillian stood in the rain. Thinner than in the video. Hair gone. Scarf wrapped around her head. But her eyes, those were the same. Ethan used to say they looked like morning sky. She held a bottle. The Macallan. Still half full. I brought it back, she said, voice barely above a whisper. It was never ours to drink. I didn't move. He loved you so much, she said. Even after I left, he asked about you. Every week. Made sure you were okay. I finally stepped forward, opened the door. Cold air rushed in. He didn't die because of you, I said. No, she said. But I was driving toward him when he called. I swerved. I don't remember hitting the tree. I woke up in the hospital. With a concussion. And a dead fiancé. She handed me the bottle. And then Dad told me to stay silent. Said it would destroy both families. Said you'd blame me. I looked at the whiskey. Then at her. You're dying. She nodded. I have a son. Your grandson. He's 1 year old. I named him Ethan, because he has your son's smile. I closed my eyes. The revenge I'd planned, exposing Robert, destroying their reputation, making them pay, dissolved like ash. Because now I had a choice. I could burn them down. Or I could save what's left. Underscore 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 underscore. The next morning, I uploaded a new video. No music. No drama. Just me, holding the bottle. I spent months believing I was fighting for my son. But I wasn't. I was fighting against the one thing I couldn't change. Now, I have a grandson. And a choice. Do I keep hating? Or do I finally start living for the ones who still breathe? I paused. The whiskey won't be opened on July 14th. It'll be opened on his 18th birthday. By both of us. If he wants to. I set the bottle in the freezer. One place. Two meanings. Underscore 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 underscore. But as I closed the door, my phone buzzed. A new message. From at Phoenix Rises 88. Just 3 words. You still don't know. And attached, a photo. Of Robert. Standing beside a second bottle. Identical. Same label. Same number. But this one, is full. Underscore 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 underscore. If the bottle I have isn't the real one, then whose whiskey did I just forgive them for stealing? And who's been manipulating me from the start? The truth isn't over. It's just been poured. Next, the second bottle. Coming soon. This time, I won't just listen to the story. I'll drink it. I drove to Westchester in the dark. No plan. No weapon. Just the photo on my phone, Robert standing beside a full Macallan 25, same label, same serial number, and a heartbeat that sounded like a war drum. There are 2 bottles. That was the only thought that wouldn't leave me. One I'd spent years protecting. One Robert had never opened. Why duplicate it? Why fake it? And why did someone want me to believe the one I got back was the real one? The GPS led me to a gated estate nestled in the hills above the Hudson. Stone pillars. Iron gates. A name carved into the arch, Valeska Ridge. I didn't call ahead. I didn't want a chance to talk myself out of it. I parked a mile down, walked the rest. Cold air bit my lungs. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. Not from fear. From something deeper. Something like recognition, like I was walking into a truth I'd been running from since the night Ethan died. The back gate was unguarded. I slipped through. The house was lit, soft gold through tall windows. Music played. Piano. Chopin. The same piece Ethan used to play when he couldn't sleep. I froze. He'd never taught it to anyone. I moved to the window. Inside, Robert sat at a grand piano, fingers dancing over the keys. He looked older than in the photo. Tired. Grief-aged. And on the table beside him, the bottle. Identical to mine. Same label. Same number. Same wax seal. Impossible. I stepped into the open. Knocked. He didn't flinch. Finished the piece. Then turned. His eyes met mine. No surprise. No fear. Just sorrow. "You're not supposed to be here," he said, voice quiet. "I saw the photo," I said. "The second bottle. Why? Why fake it?" He stood, walked to the decanter, poured 2 fingers of amber liquid. "Do you know how rare this whiskey is?" he asked. "I bought it the day my son turned 1. And I bought the other one the day my daughter was diagnosed." I stopped breathing. "What?" He handed me a glass. I had it replicated. Same label. Same number. Same meaning. Because when Lillian told me she was dying, she asked me one thing. He paused. She said, "Dad, I don't want Mark to think I stole from him. I don't want his grandson to grow up hating us." I stared at the glass. "So you made a copy. To give him back what he thought we took," he said. "So you could forgive us. So you could meet your grandson." I looked at the bottle. "This one, it's not real." "No," he said. "The real one, the one you bought, is still in your freezer." I laughed. A broken sound. So the cork with embalming fluid, the stopper at the grave, the first sip taken. "All props," he said. "Staged. By who?" He hesitated. "Then, by me." The room tilted. "You sent the box. The notes. The photo. I wanted you to come," he said. "Not to destroy us. To see us. To see her. To see the child who has your son's laugh, your son's hands. But I knew you'd never come if I just asked. You were too angry. Too broken. And the paternity test? The sealed file? The file was sealed to protect Lillian's privacy. The test, she never took it. Ethan wasn't the father. I am. I staggered back. What? She was raped in college. By a lab partner. No report. No trial. Just silence. And when she found out she was pregnant, she didn't want the world to know. She wanted to raise that child as hers. As theirs. My mind reeled. So Ethan, he died believing he'd been abandoned. And you let him. I was trying to protect her, Robert said, voice cracking. And I failed. I failed him. I failed you. I failed them both. Silence. The weight of it pressed down like stone. All this time, I'd been hunting a villain. And the truth was a man who loved his daughter too much to let her pain be seen. And me? I'd been ready to ruin him. I looked at the glass in my hand. Then at the fake bottle. Then at the man who'd orchestrated an entire deception, not for power, not for revenge, but to give me back a family. I set the glass down. Untouched. And then I did the one thing I never thought I'd do. I stepped forward. And I hugged him. He stiffened. Then collapsed into it, sobbing. I'm sorry, he whispered. I'm so sorry. I didn't say anything. There were no words. Only grief. Only loss. Only the unbearable weight of what might have been. Underscore 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 underscore. But as I pulled back, my eye caught something. On the shelf behind him. Another bottle. Smaller. Unlabeled. And beside it, a syringe. Clear liquid inside. I pointed. What's that? Robert froze. Then, slowly, Lillian's experimental treatment. Last dose. I frowned. Then why's the bottle? I stopped. Because I remembered. The real Macallan, the one in my freezer, had traces of embalming fluid on the cork. Not from a funeral home. From here. From this house. From this man. I stepped back. You didn't just fake the bottle, Robert. He didn't answer. You opened the real one, I said, voice rising. You took the whiskey, and you replaced it. With something else. His face went pale. I had to, he whispered. The treatment needed a carrier. Something pure. Aged. I didn't think. You stole it, I said. You took the only thing I had left of my son, and you used it for medicine. It was for his child, he shouted. For your grandson. I didn't steal it to hurt you. I stole it to save him. I stared at him. The man who lied. Who manipulated. Who broke into my home. But also the man who raised my grandson. Who protected his daughter. Who tried, in his own twisted way, to make peace. I turned. Grabbed the fake bottle. Held it over the fireplace. One smash. One end. I could destroy it. Destroy him. Or I could walk away. With the truth. With a grandson. With a second chance. My hand trembled. Then, crash. I set it down. Whole. I want to meet him, I said. My grandson. Tomorrow. Robert nodded, tears in his eyes. I'll bring him. I turned to leave. Then paused. The video, I said. I'm posting it. All of it. The truth. He didn't stop me. He just whispered, make sure he knows. I did it for love. Underscore 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 underscore. I drove home in silence. Uploaded the final video. No edits. No music. Just the truth. And one last line. Revenge didn't bring my son back. But the truth gave me a reason to keep living. I closed my laptop. Looked at the Real bottle, still in the freezer. Still full. Still waiting. But not for a toast. For a beginning. Underscore 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 underscore. Tomorrow, I meet my grandson. And for the first time in years, I'm not afraid of what I'll say. Because the story isn't over. It's just been reborn. The morning sun slants through the kitchen window the same way it did the day I bought the bottle. 10 years ago. July 14th, Ethan's first birthday. I'd walked into Carl's shop with a crumpled list in my hand, cake, balloons, a onesie that said, Future Whiskey Connoisseur. And at the bottom, in shaky pen, Macallan 25. For when he's old enough to understand time. I didn't know then that time would run out. Now, the bottle sits on the table in front of me. Not in the freezer. Not hidden. Present. And across from me, him. My grandson. Ethan James Calloway Valescu. 19 months old. Hair like his father's. Eyes like Lillian's. And a laugh, bright, sudden, unguarded, that stops my breath every time. He babbles, smearing banana across his high chair, completely unaware that his existence unraveled a year of rage, that his name carried a legacy of grief, that his survival cost a grandfather his soul. Robert stands in the doorway, leaning on a cane I didn't know he needed. He doesn't come in. Just watches. Like he's afraid to step into the light. Lillian couldn't make it. She's weaker now. Confined to home. But she sent a letter. I read it last night. I don't expect forgiveness. But I hope, someday, he knows I loved his father. And that I named him not to replace, but to remember. Tell him stories, Mark. All of them. Even the ones that hurt. So I will. But not today. Today is about presence. Not the past. I open the freezer. Pull out a small glass. Not crystal. Just a tumbler from Ethan's college days, chipped at the rim, faded band logo on the side. I don't pour the whiskey. I hold the bottle. And for the first time, I speak to it. Hey, buddy, I say, voice low. He's here. The baby giggles, kicks his feet. I set the bottle down. No toast. No ceremony. Just a decision made in silence, this isn't for drinking. It's for passing on. A legacy not of revenge, but of repair. Later, I upload the final video. No title. Just a single frame, the bottle on the table, sunlight catching the gold in the liquid. My voice, calm. You came for revenge. You stayed for the truth. And now, I'm letting go. Not because the pain is gone. But because love is louder. I tell them about the fake bottle. About Robert's lie. About the real one, used, not stolen, but repurposed, its contents absorbed into a desperate fight for a child's life. About the grandson I never knew I had. About the woman who died loving my son in silence. And I end with this. I used to think revenge would fill the hole. But all it did was dig it deeper. Justice isn't punishment. Sometimes, it's showing up. I click publish. The views climb. But I don't watch. I close the laptop. And for the first time in 3 years, I don't check the freezer. Underscore 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 underscore. That night, I dream of Ethan. He's standing in the garage, grease on his hands, working on the Mustang. He looks up, smiles. "You okay, Dad?" I nod. "Can't speak." "You don't have to keep the bottle, you know," he says. "I'm not in it." "I know," I whisper. "Then why keep it?" "Because it's all I had." He wipes his hands on a rag. Walks over. "But you don't have to have nothing," he says. "You've got him now." I wake with tears on my cheeks. And the house is quiet. But not empty. Underscore 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 underscore. A week later, I receive a package. No return address. Inside, a small vial. Clear liquid. And a note in Robert's handwriting. The last of the treatment. I kept it, just in case. But the doctors say he's in remission. The whiskey worked. More than you know. Thank you. I hold the vial up to the light. This is it. The real first sip. Not drunk. Given. Not for morning. For life. I don't know what to do with it. Keep it. Pour it out. Burn it. Instead, I place it on the shelf beside the bottle. 2 vessels. One past. One future. Underscore 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 underscore. And then, another message. From @PhoenixRises88. The account has been silent for weeks. Now, one line. You still don't know whose whiskey it really was. I freeze. I replay the video Robert sent, the one where he confesses to faking the bottle. But in the background. On the piano. A framed photo. Not of Lillian. Not of the baby. Of a woman. Smiling. Holding a newborn. And the date stamp in the corner. June 1999. 1 month before Ethan was born. The woman is young. Dark hair. Familiar eyes. I've seen her before. In old family albums. In a grave I haven't visited in years. Marianne Calloway. My wife. Ethan's mother. Who died in childbirth. And who, according to the hospital records, didn't survive long enough to hold him. But in the photo. She is. And Robert is standing beside her. Arm around her shoulder. Smiling. Like they knew each other. Like they were close. I stare at the screen. My breath shallow. The dopamine gap snaps shut, then rips open wider than before. Because if Robert knew my wife, if he was there the day Ethan was born, if he helped raise a child not his own, then what else did he sacrifice? And whose blood, whose grief, whose love, was really in that bottle all along? Underscore 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 underscore. I don't have answers. Not yet. But I don't close the laptop. I pour 2 glasses. One for me. One for the ghost at the table. And I raise it. Not to revenge. Not to loss. But to the truth, still unfolding. To the ones we thought we lost, I say. And the ones we never knew we had. Outside, the wind stirs the trees. Like a whisper. Like a name. Like a story, not ending, but beginning.